Welcome everyone to our talk, Platform as a Product. We made an effort to make the slides a bit Star Wars-y because it's May the 4th, but we promised that we know more about the topic than Star Wars, so if there's any miss sort of a Star Wars reference, so please excuse us. So, my name is Cansu. I'm an architect in Red Hat's Open Innovation Labs team. My main responsibility, main focus is building platforms that fit for purpose with our customers and help them to bootstrap site reliability engineering mindset within their product team.
And I'm Ciula. I am engagement lead working with Cansu in Red Hat Open Innovation Labs. So just to give you a little bit of a background what we do and why we have some stories from the field. So obviously we work in Red Hat Consulting, and our job is to help our customers bring together people, process, and technology to make the most out of the platform. Out of the technology, but obviously most of our tooling is around the platform. So majority of our customers are people that we are trying to solve problems revolving around the platform and how to solve the complex business problems using the technology around the platform.
Yeah. So speaking of platform engineering, it's became quite a hype, quite popular, didn't it? So I saw this last winter, I think, and I'm really curious, is there anyone who really thinks that DevOps is dead and platform engineering is the big next thing that's gonna save us from all the suffering we had? That's good, that's really nice. Because the way I see it is that platform engineering is like a natural extension, like the natural next step to the like DevOps implementation, like the mature version of DevOps, let's say, because the technology got super complicated and there's this overhead, there's this new things coming up every single day that developers need to take away, and platform engineering is basically here to provide them some common capabilities, some reusable capabilities to take this cognitive load from them so that they can actually focus on what is, what they like to do, like focusing on the business applications, developing the software. So platform engineering becomes super hype, but the first time when I saw this image, I immediately thought about, oh my God, this is the next big thing that people are going to misunderstood, just like that happened to DevOps. So what we usually see or might see in the future is that like companies wants to adopt platform engineering, wants to build a platform team, but just rename the teams, just renaming their engineers' titles, and not really change the way of working on, and not really changing their mindset. So that comes with lots of challenges that it actually deserved, it earned its own report this year about these challenges. So you might maybe know about this State of DevOps report, where they survey with lots of companies that mainly creating a report about where these organizations stuck in their DevOps journey. So this one is specifically for the platform engineering one. And there are these common challenges that they identified with their organizations. And maybe some of them are sort of familiar to you. I see some notes over there. Yeah. So like this adaptation to the platform team, or like the lack of communications about the new capabilities, and then these frustrated platform teams who really sad about, oh, but we built it, why they didn't, why they don't use our platform? We have this really cool stuff in here. So it becomes really frustrating. But there's a new hope. You see what I'm doing here? Cool, it works, cool. So platform as a product, treating platforms as a product, it's basically applying this modern product management mentality, this mindset into the building platforms. So it's like a big hard shift from focusing on the underlying technology of the platform, but instead focusing on what actually user needs, what actually our developer needs, and building the platform around their needs. And these guys, Matthew Skelton and Manuel Pai, coined this term. Maybe you heard about the Team Topologies books. It's highly suggested. It's a great book. So they coined this term, and then all these platform engineering reports around this topic is suggesting that they should treat the platform as a product. They should more understand about what this means and building their teams and their platforms around this mindset. So what we did is that like 2 years ago, we realized that this concept is really great. These two guys also seen the results in the field. So we wanted to actually help our customers to align around this idea and have a shared understanding what this means and give them a kickstart about their on their platform journey, building the platform journey. So today we want to actually talk about what this workshop is about, what sort of stuff inside it, and what we've been learning based on these workshop that we ran last 2 years. So workshop.
So yeah, platform as a product workshop, we build it with our customers in mind because we saw a lot of talking to our customers. We saw the DevOps and we saw the devs being utterly frustrated with the ops throwing all the obstacles under the legs, and the ops being utterly frustrated with developers calling them stupid because they don't know how to use the platform. So obviously that leads to behaviors like the empire mandates to use the platform, and then the shadow IT of the rebels creates their own cluster somewhere on the credit card. So we thought, well, that's not the way to collaborate. Let's bring them on the same page. So we thought, like, if we create something that helps the teams that we work with explain what does it mean to treat the platform as a product, what are the benefits of such a mindset, and how they might be able to start, that will be a good win. They will not transform overnight, but at least they will have something that will show them the journey. And so we built this workshop in Miroverse, and obviously because we are Red Hat, we open source it. So if anybody is interested in this workshop, it's actually available in Miroverse. You can download it, you can use it. It's free for grabs. So it has several modules. We are going to go through just a few, the key ones that we believe, because we want to tailor it. Whenever we run with the customer, we tailor it to their understanding of the problem and where they are sitting currently. So yeah, that's the first thing. That's where we start. So we start the workshop with thinking about what are the challenges they are experiencing, and we ask them to prioritize those challenges accordingly. And then we also have some blanks because not every challenge is common across all the platform users, and that helps us drive the focus of the workshop. So that's a very first starting point. What we noticed that depending on the audience in the room, this is usually very, very helpful discussion. But if we have a lot of regulated environments and controversial views, it tends to be heated because people have different views of what's more important thing and so on. So we typically allow enough time to get shared understanding, to get everybody focused on what is the biggest, the most burning problem they are trying to solve. So after we establish that, we move to the next stage.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the next step is that we dive into the what we mean when we say about platforms, because it's really important to understand and align everyone is what this platform, why we are building this platform, and why there is what sort of responsibilities that platform should have, what are the boundaries in it. So we have this 4 quadrant that we ask people to put their ideas on it, and we usually get really fun stuff like platform is not just Kubernetes. That's really like a spot on. Kubernetes is just one of the vehicles that we bring to the table. But it also creates some sort of a discussion, which is usually my favorite, and we usually see this, that some say that platform is should be the entry point for the developers. It should be this one single glass pane that they should start. But also they said that but platform does not support everything. Does not really should not be the answer of everything. So they usually have this conversation about but what about the edge cases? So this is where we usually have the benefit of, as Anna said, that diverse audience in here. It's not just the ops view, it's not just the dev view, and sometimes we see that where ops people think that it's not like that of a common problem, but actually it's the common problem or like a common need in the platform, in the ecosystem where they operate in it. So it's like it helps us to bring them in the same page and help us to basically draw the boundaries of what this platform is going to be look like and what this platform is going to be responsible of in our own organization. Because it's not just a generic term that's going to help us to drive the conversation from now. It's really important for them to understand that what this platform is and why we are actually building this, what sort of problem we are trying to solve it. So these conversations and the discussions that in this 4 quadrant is really help us. So after we get the shared understanding of what we mean when we say platform. And anyone say in the organization say platform, we move to the actual product concepts.
Yeah, because platform as a product, so we need to make sure that everybody understands what the product is. And typically here, everybody knows what is a product, that it's solving a problem or responds to a need. We just want to reiterate, give them some food for thought, that it has to be feasible, it has to be technically viable, and it has to be desirable. We also kind of get them to think a little bit what is the empowered product team, that it's the team that's going to solve problem, not implement the solutions, because that way it is a feature team, and it's not really, it's much more difficult to motivate those teams in such a way. Yeah, this is a little bit interactive. We don't get much discussions of that, but we really just want to make sure that everybody is clear when the product is going to be successful, just because we want to bring the next, whoopsie daisy, my thingy is crazy. Okay, there we go. So we want to make sure that then we apply those product lenses on the platform. And this is where it's becoming interesting, because once we start talking about like platform as a product, obviously need to solve some business problems. So typically it would be maybe reducing time to market, reducing operational burden. In some good cases, it really should reduce cognitive load of the developers. It should be built for developers, with developers responding to the basic needs. And obviously it needs to be technically feasible. And this is where we get a lot of aha moments, because a lot of our customers say, shit, no one is really doing this. We don't really have a platform product manager. Whose job is that to make sure that we are doing something for the business? And similarly here, they think of like, but we didn't really think about developers. We just wanted to educate them how to use the platform. We didn't think about what are the services that they will need first, and so on. So that's a really good moment to make them think about it. And we also then try to make them think about like empowered platform team. Who is in that empowered platform team? What kind of roles they should have here? And we kind of point to those two roles that they need to be filled. And we make them think about the platform stakeholders, because platform stakeholders are all the internal people that could be users, could be customers, could also be influencers like compliance teams, security teams. So we make them think a little bit more about that. And then also in the platform, in the product concept product backlog is super important, and making them realize that in that backlog, you don't just put things about building and maintaining the platform. As a product, you have to think about things like evangelizing your product, making people want it more. This internal marketing is super useful. As important as evolving your product with time, making sure that it still responds to the needs of your target market. So that's kind of where we try to make sure that they are clear on the product and platform concepts.
Exactly, because we want developers to come to our platforms, and we don't want them make their lives miserable. So this evangelism and understanding how they what they actually need, what they want. So it's really important to have this conversation of feedback loop with them, and we point out in here. And at some point in the workshop, we sort of have this check mark, like a bit of checkpoint in here. So like Anna explains beautifully this how to apply product thinking to platform concept. We saw this in the team topologies people's workshop in one of their talks, and they talk about this like four product characteristics. And I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to ask, just to check if you've been listening, to see if you feel like this is also can be applied to platforms as well. So I can't exactly read it, so from my memory, one of the product characteristics is that a product should evolve with technology. Do you believe that a platform also should evolve with the technology as well? Is that? Nice, cool.
5 points.
Okay. Another thing is that a product simplifies something for its users. Do you think that a platform also should simplify something for its users? Cool. A product carefully designed and created for the needs of of its user, and in our case, it's the internal developers. Do you think that we should also create the platform based on their needs, and carefully design? And thank you. Yeah. And lastly, a product is optional. No one really forces you to buy a product. Do you think that a platform is also optional?
Yes.
Okay. This is exactly where we have too much fun, because especially in those regulated environments, we always have at least one people that raise an eyebrows and saying, what do you mean optional? I mean, we are building it, like, what? Like, they have to use it. They can't just go around on AWS or Google Cloud or something and put the credit card behind and use it. We have regulations. We have all this security stuff. And actually, the reason that we really brings this out on this point is to really show them that the idea is that you should treat your platform in a way that you should build this in a way that your developers wants to use it. Like, it should be so compelling that they don't want to look for any other alternative. They want to use your platform, and you should always have this in your mind that if I don't build this for them and with them, they might just run away, and then you just have these classical empty cluster problems where only you have a giant Kubernetes clusters and you have only like 1, 2, 3 applications on top of it, and no one is really onboarding their applications on top of it. So this really helps us to keep us on our toes and having the users on our mind that this platform is optional. We are not going to force them to use it. We're going to make it so good, and we're going to listen to them, and they will come and use it and hopefully evangelize for us internally. So it's not us gonna talk about this, but they gonna talk about to their neighbors as, oh, I did this, was so easy that I just onboarded my application, just 2 clicks, so easy, you should use that as well, type of thing. So this is where we usually have the most fun, and you guys all passed the test, so congratulations. And next.
Cool. So we also try to focus the mind of people that run the workshop with on the outcomes, thinking about like, what are the outcomes we are trying to achieve? And naturally, that comes with the metrics. So we're trying to gauge what are the things that they currently measure. Very often we see that what they measure is just number of defects or velocity, story points. So that's a bit disappointing. We can see some traces of people getting on the journey of software performance metrics, like the ones from Accelerate book, like time to market, deployment frequency, and so on. It seems that is a standard in the industry, but very often none of our customers measure any of that. So we try to gauge some aspirations also in measuring things, because we want to reiterate to them that platform should do something for the business. Platform is not just for technology. It's supposed to deliver something that can have a measurable outcome on the business. So like we talk about reducing time to market, reducing operational burden, and so on, and thinking about metrics that can help track that. So on top of the software performance metrics about like deployment frequency, change failure rate, mean time to restore, we try to make them think about adoption rate, time to onboard, developer net performance score. That's a really good one. No one thinks about that initially, but that's if you build a platform for developers, you have to make sure that they're happy with the platform. So these are the things that typically come out in those discussions, and that's what we want. We want to leave some food for thought, to make sure that once they start getting serious about the platform and they buy into this approach, platform as a product, they do it properly. So that's kind of the expectation from this module. We've got more modules in the workshop, but we don't really have time to talk about them. And we encourage you, if you really want to run it, there is a lot of like the instructions how you can run it, pre-read and so on, so you can check for yourselves. But the last thing that we wanted to get out of our workshop is we want to make sure that the team knows what to do next. So we want to leave them with some sort of guidance, some sort of direction. And this is where our Mobius comes handy. That's kind of the navigator that we are using in Red Hat for our engagement, for our problem solving. We kind of forked this idea from the outcomes delivery now called Mobius Loop. It's not a framework, it's a navigator. It brings together practices from multiple fields like DevOps, Agile, design thinking, human-centered design, what have you. We kind of stored them in the open source community open practice library that you can find here. And the idea is each team, when they are striving to solve a problem, they can pick and choose the practices that are relevant at the time for them to learn why they are solving the problem, who they are solving it for, what are the problems that they are solving, how can they be solved, and then at that stage they can design some experiments that they believe will deliver the outcomes that will solve the problem, and then they start implementing those experiments. So we kind of think about it as a continuous discovery and continuous delivery journey that kind of leads a few times across the delivery, but you don't want to be stuck on the feature manufacturing. You do need to go back to discovery from time to time to understand whether or not the problem you are solving is actually solved. Maybe you are doing the wrong thing, maybe you need to change something. So that's how we approach that. And after we forked this model, we kind of thought in Red Hat that it might be useful to add some stabilizers to it, and we added this foundation level. The foundation level is like the set of culture and collaboration practices as well as technical engineering practices that can help keep those two loops in balance. So that's kind of the model that we introduced. But how would we use it with the platform, Cansu?
Because like Anna said, that we want people to take some actions after the workshop. We don't want them to, okay, yeah, cool idea. We got it, thank you. But during the workshop, they will come up with these questions like, why am I building this platform? Like, what is my vision for this platform? Or who are my users? Like, how I can understand my users better? Or what are the first problems that I want to solve, or what is my current processes and how I can make it better, what are the hands-off, where are the bottlenecks, etc. So there are lots of practices, as Anna said, in Open Practice Library. For example, for mission and vision ideas, there is this practice called impact mapping or start at the end. For users, there are practices coming from lean UX or user-centered design, like empathy mapping, user interviews, or like metrics-based process mapping. We built this for in one of our workshops with the customer. So there are too many practices that you can look at an Open Practice Library, bring to your own organizations, and help to answer those questions and come up with some experiments and again some practices to help you to how to prioritize these experiments and how to go and build them and learn from them. And also you are building a platform team, so it's important to start with a strong foundation where people have psychological safety and strong collaboration across the organization with developers and security and etc. So there are lots of cultural practices and as well as good technical practices as well, like everything as code, the GitHubs and etc. So we encourage you to explore Open Practice Library. As Anna said, it's a community-built website where everyone from the community has been adding new practices that they found that it's useful in their own organization. We also added lots of practices that we find useful in our engagements. So this is where we believe that after the workshop that we encourage people to go and explore and start their journey and start listing their experiments to do for the organization. And that's about it. So
workshop is for grabs. As we said,
yes.
It's free to download to use in Miroverse. And more importantly, if you want to learn how to run a workshop that doesn't suck, you can see the session of our friend Peter here tomorrow at 2:00. I promise him we will do that call out. So yeah, if you want to think about if using this workshop, just use it, and
or
you can
reach to us for questions or like for further explanations. So, yep. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for your time.